So I am back, and here I have my electrical eraser because I'm not happy with this leaf. Oh, I think... Okay, I had to make some repairs. It didn't work, and I first thought the battery was... I needed new batteries, but that was not the case, so I... Let's see. Well, this is a must-have, people. Really. Electrical erasers are absolutely fantastic. I got mine as a present from a lady from Israel, and she told me, I've said this before, I think. She told me, you need an electrical eraser. And I thought, well, here I have permanent green olive. And I really thought that is just not... why? I had no idea what an electrical eraser could do for me. But she sent me one. And she was so right. You need an electrical eraser. And it's a great present, you know, if you have your birthday coming or your Christmas is coming or some other event. Then an electrical eraser can be a really nice present. It's not a very expensive present, and it is so useful. Now that I am using this Strathmore 500 series paper, I thought, oh dear, shouldn't I have used a different type of paper, because there is so much texture in this paper that it will take ages for me to finish this one. And I wanted to make this to turn this project in a slightly quicker, not hours and hours of coloring. This is Pine Green, all Polychromos. So then I thought, oh, maybe I can go to Rotterdam and buy some other paper. I know which paper I would want to try for a project like this, but I don't have that yet. I have only a couple of small sheets of that paper. So I thought, oh, well, maybe I can go to Rotterdam, buy it in my favorite art shop, and then the universe decided that that was not about to happen. I can go to Rotterdam in two ways. Either I use the car, or I go by bus and subway. And normally my husband uses the car for his job, going to work. And then I have a special card for the bus and the train and the subway and stuff like that. Here I have permanent green olive. And then my husband told me I need to go to Utrecht, the city of Utrecht, today for my work. But it's quite difficult getting there by car because of the parking problems and other stuff. So he said, can I use your card so I can go by train? So I thought, well, that's okay. Here's my card. And I thought, well, then I have the car and I can go to Rotterdam with the car. But then, you know, he changed his mind. And then he said, no, I think I will use the car anyway. So I thought, that's okay. Can I get my card back? Because then I can go to Rotterdam with the card. But that's not what I told him. That was my own secret plan. And then he said, okay, it's fine. I'll give you back the car. But then this morning he left and he asked, can I take the card too? Because, you know, just in case I don't feel like getting into the inner city center with the car, then I can park outside the city and take a train or something to the center of Utrecht. And I said, okay, it's fine. So today there is no trip to Rotterdam. Maybe tomorrow, why not? But there's always a danger when I go to that beautiful art store. There's a danger that I will buy way too much. Until now I've been able to restrain myself. I'm just working on the holly leaves, just loose coloring. And this afternoon I really must do the groceries, so I will find that holly tree, holly bush. This is cadmium yellow lemon. So in the next episode I will have that holly leaf and we can check. See if we can add a couple of, do something with the information that a true holly leaf provides. Permanent green olive. Look at that, the sun is shining. We've had stormy weather here in the Netherlands and the clouds are disappearing, thank goodness. And I really want them to disappear because a comet is on its way. It's not a very bright one, but in late afternoon and the early hours in late morning, when it's still, yeah, how do you say that? 7 a.m., 8 a.m., just right before the sun is rising. And late afternoon, so 5 p.m., you can see that comet. I would love to see it. I love comets. So I will pick up my binoculars and go out, see if I can find it. I have a telescope. It's in the attic. It's rubbish, actually. it's not stable enough. It's fine to take a look at the moon with it, but other than that, the planets and stars, you know, it is not stable enough. So as soon as you focus on a planet, 10 seconds later you lost it again, because that telescope is just not stable and it is changing its focus constantly. When you bump into it, you can start over again. So this is pine green. I don't know if I told you that. So here's the lemon yellow, cadmium lemon yellow again. I think I need to make the point is still sharp, but I'm going to sharpen it even more. Last night when I was lying in bed, I was thinking about this type of paper, and the cover of this paper pad says that this paper is also very good for mixed media. Here I have permanent green olive again. So I was thinking maybe I should try this with Derwent Inktense. I love Inktense, both using it dry and wet. And I just had a feeling that a medium like Inktense might do very well on this type of paper. So I'm just adding layers of color here and there with a light touch. And I'm enjoying the sunshine tremendously, I must say. The warmth of the sun is so beautiful. And in the next couple of days, I think I must do a little bit of Christmas decorating in the home. I haven't done that yet. And the other one, pine green. So let's take a step back. Yeah, this is good. And I think I can use that electrical eraser to make extra highlights if I need them. Here is the permanent green olive. Now a drawing or a painting needs contrast always, and I'm going to add more contrast, and I'm using a way of shading that is pretty well known, pine green. You can shade by using the opposite color of a particular color in the color wheel. So for example, I want to shade the red over here. Then I will use the opposite color, and that is green. You know the color wheel? There is a video on the Passion for Pencils YouTube channel about how I color a color wheel, but I can quickly do a little bit of a color wheel. So here we have 1, 2, 3. Now let's start with yellow. Let's make this one yellow. I'll do this quickly, so it's not going to be beautiful. And it is on Arch paper, watercolor paper. So then we have a red over here. So these are the primary colors. And then we have a blue. Let's take this one. Now, when you mix yellow and blue, you get a green. When you mix red and yellow, you will get an orange. And when you mix blue and red, you will end up with purple. Now I think you can already see these are each other's opposite color. Opposites. Opposites and opposite. And when you place these colors, the opposite colors, next to each other, you will create great contrast. But you can do something else. If you have a red surface and you want to add a shadow, then use the opposite color to do that. And that's what I'm going to do here. I have a red ribbon and I'm going to use the opposite color of red, that is green, to make the shadow. Here I have a pine green, that is, I am choosing a green that is already in the drawing, so I'm not choosing a new one. I want to make a connection between all the elements in the drawing. I'm using a very light touch, and as you can see, this really looks like a shadow. Let's add a little bit of the other green that I'm using, permanent green olive. Let's see what that does. I don't know if you can see that, but I think I prefer this green because this is a slightly cooler tone and that makes more contrast, I think. There are many ways, many techniques of shading. And this is just one of them. Now I haven't used this one very much, so I thought it would be nice to just give it a try. And here I'm following the contours of this leaf. So, Okay, let's pick up that beautiful tiny little bell. And right now I'm just trying to determine what I actually see. I'm just looking right now and I see that the dark area is actually pretty dark. And I also see that the highlighted area is smaller than what I have in the drawing. So I'm going to make a couple of adjustments. Here I have brown ochre. I think I want to start lighter. This is a very light Luminance pencil, Primrose. Oh, I must do some sharpening first. So here it is. The Luminance pencils are wax based and the Polychromos pencils are oil based, but they are a perfect match to each other. And the Polychromos pencils are so good when it comes to precision. And these Luminance pencils are very, very bright, extremely light fast, and they are just, it's the best pencil set that I have at the moment, I think. Very powerful. The only thing that they are lacking, because they are so soft, is their ability to precision, to do very precise work. But there the Polychromos pencils come in. Here I have a Luminance pencil called Sepia. Let's take a look at that bell. Here's the bell. Look how dark it is, actually. That's another skill that you learn over the years. When you do a lot of painting and coloring and drawing, that is the art of looking, the art of just being able to really see what's there. You know, this bell, it's a gold bell, a shiny bell, and then the first impression that you would have, the first idea I would have, oh, it looks like gold, yellow, and a lot of shiny surface. But the shiny surface is behaving completely different than what I would think at first, because in this shiny light colored bell there are very dark spots, and if you do not draw them, if you do not paint them, then it looks completely different from the real bell. And that's something that I'm learning at the moment. Really looking closely to what an object really looks like. And if your sketching is not so good, then just take a picture of what you want to color or draw or paint, and then just trace the picture onto your drawing paper. The tracing alone helps you to develop a sense of how do you say that? Verhoudingen. How shapes and sizes relate to each other, and how you put that on a 2D flat paper. Just by tracing the subject, you train your eye, turning a 3D object into a 2D image. Look at that. What a difference. Wow. I think this highlight is too big also. So I will use the primrose first. And I don't think there will be a highlight here because this bell is in front of it. But I have only one bell, so logic will have to make the decisions now. What about a highlight like this? And I would like to use this first, brown ochre, Polychromos. And I'm using the image on the screen of my camera as well, just as a reference. Then I see it in a different view, and that helps to determine how to proceed, what to do next. That looks better, don't you think? I think that looks much better. And I have another color here, walnut brown. Because I think over here there will be darkness, shadows. It's time to watch Lord of the Rings. Once a year I watch Lord of the Rings. And I think it's about time that I should do that. But I have no time because I'm doing this. Maybe tonight. And I'm switching over to Luminance Sepia. I love Lord of the Rings, but there's one thing that I don't like about the movies. There's not enough color in it. Did you notice that? Only the first of the 3 films, there's a lot of green. The green forests and the green of you know, where the hobbits live. And a couple of flowers, but then in the second and third movie there's hardly any color left, and of course it is it works for the story to leave out so much color, but I really don't like it. I love nature and colors and flowers and trees and sunshine. But hey, that's just... do you see that here? That light, the dark area? That is not working. Do you see that? I need to do something about it. Thank goodness we have an electrical eraser. I will leave it like that for now. I will make a couple of pictures and take a look at it, and then I will probably erase it. This does not look like it should look like that. No. No, I'm going to change it right away. I take the pictures later. Here is the electrical eraser to the rescue. Yeah, I think I have to do a little bit of research to find out how this works. The reflection on a bell that is behind another bell, and the light comes from the right, and then what happens? Here's a brown ochre again, because clearly, that's the interesting thing, you know something is wrong, but how do you make it right? So that's time for some research. Other than that, well, the other bell looks good, I think. Not bad at all. Here, holly, and this one, oh dear, it's all falling out. There I have it. This is what I was looking for. And I found two bushes, this one, and a couple of meters away from the larger one, there was another bush with clearly a different type with different leaves. But I think I'm going to work with this one, the shiny leaf. And I'm going to try to pick the right pencils for this holly. It's always good to go and find the leaf that you, or the flower that you are coloring or painting, because in this case I made the classical mistake, I think, because my memory tends to remember colors differently than they actually are. And in this case it happened because in my memory this holly leaf has a very cool dark green tone. So what I did was I picked a couple of cooler green tones. For example, this one, Caran dark sap green, but when I place it here, and I'm not sure if you can see it on screen, but I can see it clearly here, this tone is too blue. Here. It's very hard to see for you, I can see on the screen, but this is not warm enough. Then I had another one, this one, Caran dark English green, same problem. Too blue for this particular leaf. Then I had a Polychromos pencil, pine green, same problem, too cool. I think you can see that. And then this one, chromium green opaque, this actually comes much closer to the actual leaf. So, and I can show you here in a close-up. This is the chromium green opaque. This is a color that comes much closer to that holly leaf than the other two. And I had expected that this one would be the right color, but it's not. Now here's another color that may be useful. I hope you can see that, this one. And this one is called moss green, also a slightly warmer tone, almost identical to the chromium green opaque, but slightly less brown. This one, the chromium green opaque, has a little brown touch. Now let's start with the moss green by Luminance. I'm just going to add it as a next layer. I just came back from the garden because during the Sinterklaasfeest, Sinterklaas gave me bulbs, flower bulbs that needed to go into the garden. So I planted the bulbs, tulips and crocuses. And I also planted hyacinth flowers. I received them from Sinterklaas also. in beautiful pots that you can put in your living room or somewhere else in the home, and they go flower then already. But those hyacinth flowers, they spread a fragrance that is quite strong, and both my husband and I, we tend to become a little bit sneezy about when those hyacinth bulbs start blooming. Allergy, I think. So that is why I put them in the garden too, and the temperature is good. So I think they will flower. That's nice. Beautiful flowers in midwinter in your garden. So today's coloring lesson again is reference is so important. I took leaves from 2 different holly shrubs. The one that I showed you was the one with the most cool toned leaves. The other one are slightly warmer, much warmer. And even that cool toned leaf was a lot warmer in color than what I thought it would be. I'm just keeping a light touch and just slowly building color. And what I learned over the years, I think it's about 3 or 4 years ago that I started coloring. 4 years, I think. It taught me so much, but for me personally, the most important thing was that I learned patience. Patience is very important. Go slow, take your time. If I would hurry this drawing, then things would not end up the way it will end up right now. And I'm not looking for perfection either. Perfection, in my opinion, is an illusion. It doesn't exist. It happens once in a while that things happen that you would call perfection, but I think we mistake perfection for extreme beauty. At least I mix up the two. Extreme beauty happens a lot if you allow it. But perfection never does. So that was quite an eye-opener for me. I am a born perfectionist, but I'm slowly acknowledging that perfection is not perfection is a different game. That's not the game here on planet Earth, I think. I made a wish list. I was thinking about Sinterklaas and the Christmas presents that many people buy. And I thought, well, it's about time that I make my own wish list. And maybe I'll make a video about it. What is on my art wish list? Not that I need anything more. I have so many art supplies right now, but I do have a wish list, yes. And now that I'm using my Polychromos pencils, I thought, well, maybe I should check the colors, the 120 colors that the Polychromos series has, because I have 76, and I thought, well, I have so many pencils right now, why on earth would I need extra Polychromos pencils? But now that I'm coloring this one, and I was thinking about the right green tones for these pencils, I mean the right green tones for these leaves, and also reading the book by Anne Swan about botanical art. She has a list of the pencils, the colors that she uses, and she has a couple of greens from the Polychromos series that I do not have, and she uses them very often. So, and she does botanical art, and I love doing that also. So I thought maybe I should put a couple of extra Polychromos pencils on my wish list. Why not?